Hey y'all, welcome back to Blackmar Barbecue. Today, I need a haircut, I need to shave, my honey-do list is getting longer than ever, but before we do any of that crap, we're making Italian hot sausage out of a feral hog we shot last weekend. Let's get to it. Before we get into this recipe, I want to talk about hog hunting in Texas, and this hunt in particular. I grew up whitetail hunting, and if a hog came out, we would always kill it. They were a nuisance, right? They don't taste good. Very rarely will we keep one. Well, recently I was given this book. It's called The Hog Book by Jesse Griffiths. He has an excellent restaurant here in Austin called Die Dewey, and in this book he details methods, killing practices, harvesting, butchering, everything you need to know in order to cook and eat every type of hog, no matter how big it is, how stinky it is. I was a doubter at first, but I have used this book and some of the recipes in it and some of the techniques I've learned to kill big, stinky hogs and turn them into some of the most unique and flavorful tasting meat I've ever had. I'm going to be using some of the recipes and some of my own takes on them and showing you guys how I do it and giving you honest feedback. On this hunt, I had a couple of buddies from California. They've never really hunted wild game before. They flew in. I told them we were going to go on this Texas hog hunt. We hunt in Central Texas around the Mason area. They brought out this drone. We had a great time, got some good footage, and we were able to bag 2 hogs. I did all the butchering myself, and we were able to get a ton of yield out of these 2 animals, including the hot Italian sausage I'm going to show you in just a minute. This video picks up right after my good buddy Morgie pulled the trigger on a 100-pound hog. Pork fat. First things first, when talking about pork sausage, you're gonna need fat. That wild boar is incredibly lean. It's a great meat, but we're gonna need to add some fat to it. This is pork fat bat that I got from the grocery store, and I'm just cutting this up so it'll go in the grinder. I'm weighing it out. I need about 20% of my meat to be fat. Future sausage. Pounds. That's what I'm talking about. This is America. The wild boar we're going to use to make sausage. I believe most of this came from the hams. I simply just cut them up into chunks, froze them like that. So now I got to break them up, mix them with the fat. You do want this to be cold when it's going through the grinder. Work out any frustrations you've built up through the week by smashing some garlic. We're going to dice this up. We're going to get all our seasonings ready and mix it in with the meat when it's raw so it'll be well incorporated when we feed it through the grinder. Don't worry about the ratios and ingredients on this one, folks. I'll have the full recipe in the description of this video. Salt, fresh garlic, red pepper, flakes, fennel seeds, probably. They might be caraway seeds. Oregano. They were fennel seeds, I checked. Anise seeds, black pepper, smoked paprika. Just get this lightly mixed up. Time to get the meat grinder assembled. I'm going to use a 4.5mm die right here. That's about a medium grind. Just before grinding, I like to add a little olive oil or vegetable oil to the meat and to the machinery. I've had my grinder in the freezer for the last hour. It's best to grind meat when it's ice cold. You want your meat to be cold and you want your equipment to be cold. Add a little olive oil to that so nothing gets gummed up and you're going to be golden. Alright, 2 things. I forgot to plug my mic back in when we were filming this, so there's no sound for the rest of the video. That's on me. Number 2, it's time to do the second grind on this sausage. Still grinding through a medium die, 4.5mm, but this second grind is going to help us get a really nice emulsified sausage. You can achieve this by grinding once and then just hand mixing the hell out of it, but this is what was in the book, so I'm doing it. An important thing to keep in mind is I went ahead and put my grinding material back in the freezer and I put the meat back in the freezer. Again, we want to keep everything as cold as possible, lube it up with some oil, and look, once we're feeding that meat back through the grinder, we're getting that like ground meat textures come out in long strings. It looks like meat spaghetti. That's the kind of stuff you'll see at the grocery store, right? It's been emulsified as hell. The main reason why this is such a pain is because it's really hard to stuff already ground meat back through the throat of the grinder. It helps a lot if it's frozen, it gives you some resistance, but I really don't like double grinding. After you've hit it with that double grind, you should have this. Holy meat mountain, mother of God, about 12 pounds of ground pork. Okay, I have a confession. I didn't grind all of it. I left about the last bit because I got annoyed. It's got that nice coarse pebbly grind. I'm going to mix the two together. I think this will give it a little bit of a nice textural difference. Our meat has been ground. In the recipe, it calls now for a little wine that you mix in with the meat to act as an emulsifier. I didn't have wine on me open, but I did have this bad boy. Picked it up at my local HEB, couldn't pass it up. Also, realized afterwards that you can pull that tab out and get a much cleaner pour. First, a beer for the boys. Oh yeah, impressive. I know. Athlete. Now we've got beer number 2 or 3 that we're just going to add a little bit to this meat as we mix it. It's going to help act as an emulsifier as well, get the meat moist and sticky, right? We want this to become a sausage-like texture, not just ground pork. It's also crazy how quick that ground pork really soaked up that beer. I mean, look at it. It's completely gone. It's almost like future sausage and beer just kind of go together. Food for thought. When mixing the meat, I like to go for this kind of slap and fold technique that you'll see people do when they're making bread. I've never made bread before, but I figured if it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. Also, pro tip, don't lose your wedding ring in the sausage. That would have been very awkward. Sorry, Katie. Now that we've spent way too much time emulsifying our meat and it's nice and sticky, it's kind of sticking to our hand, it's got that good sausage texture, we're ready to stuff it. I have to use big words when I'm talking about this stuff to avoid giggling because there's so many dirty jokes you can make. Get your mind out of the gutter. Today we are using all natural hog casings to case our all natural wild boar sausage. They come in a dry brine, so I like to just kind of soak them for 30 minutes to an hour, get them defrosted, then rinse them out, and then get them on the horn. As weird as it's going to feel, you do want your horn to be very lubed up or else you will rip the casing, and no one likes dealing with that. Another tip, if you've got fat little piggy fingers like me, make sure to leave yourself plenty of slack at the end of the sausage so you can tie a knot at the end. When casing sausage, I've got one hand on the crank controlling the flow of meat, and the other hand is just keeping the casing tight on the horn. I'm trying to get these to be plump sausages. We're trying not to allow too many air pockets. There will be a few in there, but we're also not applying too much pressure because you will pop the casing. Here you can witness my inevitable struggle with the other end of the casing where I did not leave enough slack and can't get my fat fingers through there to tie the hole. I also want to note how important it is to leave your rope of meat a little loose because as you twist up the sausages, it's going to get tight. If it gets a little too tight, you can also use a little pricker to poke holes in the casing so the air can escape. This is actually a corn cob holder that my mother-in-law got me. I don't think I've ever used it for its intended purpose, but it works damn well right here. To actually make the sausage link, I like to basically measure out however big you think a sausage link should be, pinch, twist. Give it 2 or 3 twists, it'll get nice and tight and plump, you'll feel it, make sure not to bust it, and then move down the rope, do the same thing, twist the opposite direction. It's as simple as that. I'm going pretty slow right here because this is a tight sausage and I don't want to pop it. It is the next day, I'm wearing a new shirt. I finished linking up all that sausage, put it right into my fridge, uncovered, just to help firm the sausages up, desiccate the skin so they get a little dried out in that cool, dry environment. And now I'm cutting them all into individual links. They're not falling apart. No meat is coming out. It's perfect. Right here, it's painfully obvious I forgot to plug in my mic again. But the gist is, I saved a couple sausages for myself. I'm going to grill these off and we're going to make some marinara Italian hot sausage hoagies. I also want to note it was raining on this day. Again, it seems like every time I want to grill a sausage for you guys, something's going wrong. So it got ugly trying to film and grill in the rain. So that's all I got. Potato roll going down in the butter bath to get toasted. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This used to be a hog walking around a week ago. Now it's delicious Italian hot sausage. We're going to create this sandwich. Oh, I split it to make it straight. The sacrifices. Don't worry, we're going to cover that up with marinara and cheese. You won't be able to tell too badly. probably. I'm topping this bad boy off with a little homemade marinara sauce. If you want to see how I made that, let me know in the comments. I'll get a video to you on it. Of course, we're going to top this off with some cheese. I didn't have some provolone or mozzarella, but a little Swiss cheese. I think it'll be jam up. Let's get this thing toasted off. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Okay, I lied. You can tell I split the sausage a little bit. Where I'm really sad I don't have my mic plugged in because the snap of this sausage was outstanding. And now you get to watch me make a mess of myself eating this thing. Look, that thing was so good, I forgot to crouch when I was eating it, so I was in frame and I stood up. I'm so busy trying to tell you guys how good this damn sandwich was, I didn't even wipe my mouth. Oh, if I'm doing that, it's tasty. Let's get real for a second though. I want to give you my honest feedback. You can slap marinara and cheese on that, put it in a toasted bun, anything would be damn good. And this is really good wild boar sausage. This is really good sausage, period. But in my opinion, I think the sausage needs a little more salt, a little more red pepper flakes, and a little more fat. In general, we want to keep the fat content between 20 to 30% for a sausage. These Central Texas wild boars run super lean, and we used mostly the hams for this sausage. So because of that, I think I should have upped the pork fat back a little bit, maybe get to more of a 25-30%. Would have helped it out. The sausage did dry out just a little bit. Again, this is my first time making this. Incredible recipe. I love the mixture of herbs and spices, all kinds of stuff I've never put into my normal sausage, and I loved it. I just think it could have been a little spicier, could have been a little juicier. Overall, I'm super happy about this hunt, super happy about this kill, super happy about this meat. Everything tastes really good, but again, this is the pursuit of perfection, right? I'm just giving you my honest feedback. The recipe I'm going to post in the description is going to be straight out of the book, not going to adapt it. You guys should try it for yourself, see how you like it. Every hog is going to be different, right? Use your best judgment. Use the recipe as a guide. I also want to give a quick shout out to the Morgans, my good friends, for coming down to Texas, giving us an excuse to hog hunt and have this experience. And learning some valuable lessons on how to clean along the way.
Oh man, that smells.
Yeah,
that was a bad move, huh?
And you got it on you too.